rather complicated relationship with poverty. On the one hand, Victorian middle classes had a really strong commitment to work and respectability. It was really important for people to live on their own means and not to be dependent upon others, which is what we see in the Victorians' desire to not have a welfare state. The workhouse was meant to deter you from seeking help. On the other hand, the Victorians had a strong Christian ethic, which meant that they believed very much in charity and charitable giving. And this was often a role for women, for middle-class women in Victorian society, to have something to do when they're not really allowed to work. If you were a working-class person who tried to look after your home, who tried to send your kids to school, who tried to make sure your children were clean and your home was clean, then you might find yourself to be a beneficiary of charity. If your husband was a drunk, if you were a drunk and you frequented pubs and music halls, then you were very unlikely to benefit from Victorian charity, because they would not deem you to be a respectable individual. This relationship with drink is really important to the Victorians. Allowing yourself to be driven into drunkenness and idleness and spending your wages on drink rather than spending your wages on your rent and food for your family. That was another way to distinguish between different elements of the working classes.
This is a map by Charles Booth from the 1880s. You can clearly see the divides that existed in the East End of London in areas such as Whitechapel, where a high concentration of poverty existed with pockets of wealth. A true melting pot where people really struggle to get by. If you'd fallen in hard times, what was the reality of life?